and welcome to the Popish plot. I'm Jessica, and it's another episode of the Summer Book Club, this time on the web. Now, the Summer Book Club is a group of Catholic YouTubing women who are all reading the Handbook for Catholic Moms, and we're all doing an episode on every single chapter. So if you go down below in the description, I will have links to everyone else's episode on this chapter. Now, this chapter is on the internet, which kind of silly to do a YouTube report on a chapter on the internet because you're learning about going online from being online. But as this is a book, it didn't know for sure that you would be online learning about it. Now, it gets into a lot of things about what's good about the internet, what is things that you need to look out for in the internet, including the fact that there are things like this. There are blogs of other mothers who might give you helpful advice. There are different podcasts. By the way, have you checked out the podcast of my friend from like 2 episodes ago? I'm going to put the link down here so you can check it out again. It points out that, she loves going to the library, but if she needs to know the answer now, she's looking it up online. And the importance of knowing how reliable a particular website is, because anyone can put anything on the internet. So if you're looking for information, you want to go and double check that this information is reliable. Now, as the guys are both born in the 70s, I like to make it a point on the show that I'm a millennial and they are Gen Xers, simply because growing up, all the Gen Xers constantly said I could not be part of their group. And so, I am just barely technically a millennial, so I'm going to bug them about it now. And so, as a millennial, I first went online probably when I was about the summer before 7th grade. Now, this was the early to mid-90s, and so to go online, the various smart kids got a field trip during the summer in which we went to, from where I lived at the time, the next county over to the next major city to use the internet on their public library, because that was pretty much the closest public internet around. And after we went there, we were given a list of various sites that we could go and look at. 90% of them were government sites. The other one was Yahoo, because at the time, that's what you use for a search engine. And even in the early days of the internet, as we were a bunch of kids, we were told, if you end up on a questionable site, just click out. So that was the first time I used the internet. I have no idea what we looked up, besides the fact that all the government sites were very boring. And back then, Yahoo was like the biggest thing. It was even before people heard of AOL. And long before they constantly sent you CDs with so many hours of internet that we still have a few that randomly ended up around our house because they're backed with corkboard, and we use them as coasters. Now, for those people reading the book who, unlike me, didn't grow up with the internet and computers from a very young age, I still remember the games in which to play the game you actually had to type in the commands. No matter what it said on the list of commands, it would insist that that was a command it didn't understand, even though all those terms were clearly on the okay list of words. But it points out that if you aren't all that good at the internet, there are things to remember. Things like always use a program on your computer that has antivirus software. In filters. It also points out the fact that many public libraries and schools will have programs in which they will help you learn the computer. About 2 summers ago, I remember one of those programs simply because I found it on the library's website for summer programs that you can sign up about online. And so me and all my friends had a laugh about, if you need Internet 101 or Computer 101 or typing on a computer, how are you going to sign up for this online? In this chapter, for once, almost all the homework is actually fun things, because it's about using the internet properly and useful so it is a help for your family. It says things like, subscribe to blogs you enjoy. consider making your own blog, and then gives you links to a couple free blog sites. Learn how to post and share your photos and videos online. It earlier pointed out the importance of things like don't be that mom who shares personal information of your friends and your family that they don't want online. So, it already has that caveat in place. And the only one that is at all homeworky is to check to make sure your computer is protected by filters and antivirus software, which for most of us we already know. I mean, I get a little pop-up every once in a while letting me know, hey, you haven't updated it in a while. Click update now. So, for most of us here, it's going to be quite easy to do the one boring part of the homework because you just go to the bottom of your screen, or maybe the top of your screen on Apple's, because everything on Apple seems to be opposite of PCs. At least modern Apples. As again, first generation to always have computers, I did have a typing class that was on an early Apple. Back when Apples weren't cool because these were the old computers that the school got years ago and they just couldn't afford to get new ones during the era in which everyone was like, does Apple still exist? Because the new Macs hadn't come out and no one used Apples. Anyway, and then it also has web resources, which, again, mostly fun. A place for blogging, a place for keeping track of your blog and news, and then information on internet safety. So, go down below and comment how big the floppy disk was when you first started using the internet. I know some of my friends, the answer is this big. And I know other people who are like, is that the square CD-ROM drive thing? But anyway, go ahead, comment with that. Go ahead, hit subscribe, ring the bell so you're notified when our next episode is up. Hit like so you remember, hey, yeah, I remember all those programs that we used to use in the early days of the internet. And then we can all go and talk in, the comments about when Yahoo was something we actually used, not when we did a Google search and Yahoo Answers came up and we scrolled past because we knew it was just going to be useless junk. And until next time, live your faith, love your faith, share that love.